As a young trained teacher, Britta Novak is highly sought after. People like her are in short supply in Germany. When she qualified 1 year ago, she could more or less pick and choose where she wanted to go. Although she'd trained in Berlin, she decided on Hamburg, a wealthy city which offered her better conditions.
Pay was a major factor. Also, in Berlin, a teacher has the status of an employee, whereas in Hamburg, a teacher is straight away made a public servant, starting with a 2-year trial period and then permanently. That makes a big difference.
So, not only did Hamburg offer her 800 euros more per month than Berlin would have done, it also offered her a job for life. So Hamburg is one place that's definitely not suffering from a shortage of teachers and accompanying problems such as canceled lessons. In this affluent city in northern Germany, classes are taught by teachers like Britta Novak, who passed all her exams with flying colors. No one is complaining.
The conditions here are excellent. The school has great facilities, and the students are different from the ones I would have been teaching in Berlin.
Frank Schmidt is the school principal. In the last 2 years, he's recruited 12 young teachers from Berlin. That's all very well for Hamburg, but where does that leave the poorer German capital?
I don't feel bad about it. I think it's absolutely acceptable. And it's not just because Hamburg is wealthier than Berlin. It's a question of setting priorities.
Robert Giese is principal of a school in Berlin, and he disagrees. He thinks the better-off states poach the best teachers away from the poorer ones in order to make up for their own teacher shortages.
Certain states, including Hamburg, are in a position to choose the creme de la creme. That means that the ones who stay in Berlin are less good or less qualified.
In an effort to curb the trend, Berlin has boosted starter salaries for teachers like Hendrik Schneider by 40%. He's just completed practical training at the Fritz Kassen School, and he's decided to stay in Berlin, mainly because of the sudden pay hike.
Personally, I'm well aware that there's a shortage of teachers and that right now the market is deciding what happens, just as it does in other professions. For me, it's very fortunate.
Although Hendrik would earn more in Hamburg and have a job for life, he has a sentimental attachment to Berlin. There isn't actually a shortage of trained teachers here. The trouble is that, unlike Hendrik, most of them feel that a pay increase is not enough to keep them here. Other states can offer even more.
When it comes to federalism and competition, there are always going to be limitations and shared responsibilities. So it is extremely annoying to see some states, who have failed to do their duty and train sufficient numbers of teachers, misuse their wealth to lure teachers from elsewhere with better pay.
He means states like Baden-Württemberg, which spent several €100,000 on an advertising campaign to get more teachers to move there. But Rosemarie Segelke from the Berlin Teachers Union is keeping a close eye on developments.
There is a competition going on. That's absolutely true. And Berlin won't come out of it very well because other states are stealing its teachers. And that means it doesn't have enough of them left for its own schools.
But other states also need teachers like Britta and Hendrik. Germany's schools are some 20,000 teachers short overall. So the states are all fighting over the few there are.
This injustice is built into the free market economy. There have been times in Hamburg when we've only been able to give teachers employee status or less than full positions for precisely the same reasons, and that meant we couldn't find any.
But now Hamburg is in a position to bid for the best teachers, while Berlin simply can't afford it.
We don't have the money to keep up with other states who are in a position to offer trainee teachers an extra 500 euros a month.
The real losers are the students in the German capital. Cash-strapped Berlin is witnessing a drain of good teachers.
Of course, I'm following the situation here in Berlin. I'm flexible. If they decide to reverse the pay hike, and I start to feel that there's really no future for me here, then I certainly won't be sticking around.
No one can hold it against the teachers if they choose to go where the conditions are best. It's up to the politicians to find a way of creating a more level playing field.